Fix the camera. Yay, I'm live. Close that one. Holy shit, someone's already in here. How's it going? Welcome to the party. Let me go share this. We're going to talk about when you want to shut down. How's it going, big country? Hopefully you're staying safe and warm and all this and all that in this fun weather. Shit. Channel. There we go. I didn't need to do that. Share. Copy link. Bear with me for a second. We're going to get right into it. How's it going, RH? Charlie and Michael, how you guys all doing tonight? It's been an interesting set of live feeds tonight. Been catching everything. I shared out Chad Rich earlier, and then I was watching Crazy Bags. I'm going to talk about those guys here in a little bit. But I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about knowing when to shut down, and kind of share one of my personal stories where I pushed too hard and I could have rolled the truck. So I'll kind of share that story with you. Just bear with me for a second. Share to Facebook. Hopefully that goes to the right spot this time. Yeah, it did. All right. So how's everyone doing tonight? So, I don't know if Chad Rich and Crazy Bags are subscribed yet, but we're going to be working on some videos together. I know they kind of butcher my name. I know it's kind of a little bit weird spelling. You can call me, my actual name's Jacob, but my screen name is JACAS, or just call me Jackass. Either which way, it works out fine. Okay, see there, I'll talk about that dedicated run after we talk about this weather here. So kind of one of the great things is about Prime is you are the captain of your ship. If you shut down for weather, just make sure it's actually weather. Don't lie about it. Prime will find out, or your company will find out, wherever you go to. Do not push yourself into situations like Crazy Bags was talking about. I think he only made it 28 miles today up there in Iowa, Nebraska area, due to how crappy the roads are. So it is better to say it's better to park than to wreck. Was a lot of my old time primers. I remember Don Lacey saying, "No load is too hot that it won't cool off in the ditch." So keep that in mind. Plus, if you're a lease op and you're pushing your students, so that's all going to come out of your pocket, and that's going to be what, $2,500 in deductibles you're going to be paying if you wreck your truck and trailer. So, so I'm going to share my story where I almost rolled, and it was because I was pushing for load, and I should have known better and shouldn't have put myself in that situation. Picking up, actually, I delivered near Sparks, Nevada, and then I had to pick up towards where the hell was it? Had to go up to Chobani in Idaho. I forgot what the name of the city is. It's been so long since I've been up there. So I had a deadhead that length. Snow, rain, all that was all clear, but the problem is we were getting wind gusts of 40 to 60 miles per hour. Now, the first part of the leg wasn't bad because it was all headwind. When I should have parked is when I got off the highway. When I got off the highway, I made it a bit. The wind wasn't too bad. I got about 5 miles north of the interstate. If it was a U.S. highway, there ended up being another prime truck catching up to me, and the wind caught trailer so hard it actually put the trailer onto the driver's side tires were touching, and I mean I saw daylight underneath 3/4 of the driver's side trailer tires. So if it would have caught any more, I would have been rolled over. So do not push yourself in heavy weather, especially wind. Wind is no joke. I think actually um wind is a lot worse than ice or any other weather condition you're going to hit while going out here on the road. Um, reason why I say that is ice, snow, rain, you can all see. Black ice, you can't see it, but you're going to know you got a chance of it out here on the road, just due to what the weather conditions are. Plus, if it's wet, if it was wet and now it's below freezing, you know we're going to be on a chance of rainy conditions. So that's why I personally believe wind is a lot more dangerous because you can't see it coming. I know Crazy Bags got blown over when he was emptying there. I think he shared his story on one of his videos. So I'm going to talk to him about that a little bit when I interview him. Um, other than that, in snow, if or anything else, literally, if you do not feel safe, find a parking spot, park it. Don't risk it. It's one of those the old saying, what movie was it? Stupid cheerleading movie with the guys. Fired Up. Have you ever seen Fired Up? And the guys go, "You got to risk it to get the biscuit." Well, you don't want to risk it to lose your job because you pushed it. Tell you a little bit of story with a prime driver that did get fired because they pushed it trying to get into the Salt Lake City yard one time during heavy winds. And literally what got them fired was because when they were driving in, they got hit. When I say hit, wind gusts hit them 3 or 4 times before I think it was like an 80 or 90 mile per hour gust got them and blew them completely over on the highway. Now, what got them fired was that they said, "Oh yeah, we almost blew over 3 or 4 times. We were trying to get to the yard." They should have stopped. Um, there's been times in the middle of the night where all of a sudden it starts getting super windy. I've stopped under overpasses to check out what's going on with the weather. Sometimes you're gonna have to do that to find out what's going on. It's better to be safe than sorry. So, I think that's pretty much my rant about weather. So, if anyone's got any questions about that, feel free to ask. Cedar wants you to talk about my dedicated run. Pointing. Dedicated run. Great. Yeah, Deadhead, Idaho. We got some pretty interesting deadheads out here, so don't be surprised how it goes. Prime trucks, we can chain. My philosophy is if it's bad enough to chain, I park. I have yet once in almost 5 years put chains on my truck to drive. The only time I threw chains on my truck was to get out of a parking spot. That was it. Hell, now with the account I'm on, my chains are sitting in my garage at my house in a box. I don't even have them on my truck because I am running Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, and Mississippi. That's all I run right now until I decide to go to the yard, and then I'll get up to Missouri, turn around, come right back down here. Oh, tacos are starting to talk to me. So my dedicated amount, it's a Sam's Club. We got 5 stores we service. Count's full right now. I know we've got a couple dedicated Sam Clubs, I think up in North Carolina and Texas. The reason why I like this a lot better is I am actually getting 72% of the load. I'll let you know where I'm at for this week. I said it on Crazy Bags video. I'm picking up my 4th load for the week tomorrow. I will be at the store tomorrow evening. It's only 360 miles from the DC to the store. Hopefully, I'll be able to drop it off. If any which way, I'll be dropping that by Monday night. That will put me at $4,700 in revenue for the week. And also with that, I came out of the house Wednesday from home time. Um, so I actually lost a day of revenue too. Plus, I'll still have Monday evening and all day or till 1600 Tuesday to possibly even get another load in. So I can possibly the best I have done on this account is 5,900 in revenue as a solo driver. That's the best I've done, and that was partially due to picking up a load on Tuesday morning that I couldn't deliver till Tuesday evening, which was past payroll cutoff. So that put an extra load on for the week. So for this account, I love it. I don't really have too much complaints about it. A lot of people kind of turn this account down because what we do is we pick up at the DC a full trailer, run to the store, it's drop and hook. Sometimes they have what they call backhauls, which is going somewhere to pick up a load to get you back to this area for a little extra revenue, or you're dead heading back. So, like the store I'm going to tomorrow is 338 miles loaded. It's going to be 338 miles right back here. Even with all that mileage, I'm still only doing 22 to 2,400 miles for the week. And I just looked up my average last week. So far, lease to date, so that's since May, and I think I've been on this account since August. So right now, I am averaging $1.63 all miles to my truck. So I can't complain. I'm going to be interesting to see in May what it jumps up to. So it's going to be really interesting. How often do I go home? Pretty much my story is well, my wife's actually looking at getting a job now. My girls are a little bit bigger, so she wants to get a job, get a little bit more money so I can go home a little bit more. But she stays at home. So I go home when I can afford to go home. As a lease op, that's what you need to understand is you don't go home when you feel like going home. You need to be able to make sure that you can afford to go home so that way your bills and everything else aren't behind when you get out, try to come back out from on the road. That's where a lot of lease ops get themselves in trouble is they'll sit 3 or 4 days at the yard and then run for maybe a week and then take a week off at home time and then complain that they're not making any money. Well, your ass has been sitting. Fixed costs you got to cover every week is 1,300 and change. So if you're not running every day you're making that every week, no matter what, if you don't turn a single load, that $1,300 and change is coming out. There's Chad, finally made it in the building, and also the infamous Mr. Sinister. Yeah, it's not actually Tennessee, lane. It's actually Arkansas. I'll tell you that's those Sam's Club DC out of Searcy, Arkansas. Which the only thing that kind of sucks about this account is every day I'm either running once or twice through Memphis, Tennessee. And what a lot of people don't understand when you get on dedicated like this is you're pretty much running the same roads all the time. So there's not much variety in here. But the money's there for me, so I can't complain about it. Kenworth, way that's set up, it's literally 2-1 store. We drop and hook. So as long as that store's got an empty, we can drop it. I've dropped loads 24 to 34 hours early and made my way back. We don't have to wait till appointment times. Most of the stores will have us out of there within 24 hours early. A lot of the stores were having issues because the previous company that we took over from were running 3 to 4 days late. To all of a sudden we take over the account and we are running a day to 2 days ahead. So it took them a little bit adjusting to get used to how we run, because we work at Prime with 72% of the load. We want to get there, drop that load, and get our asses back to pick up another load to keep running. It's the way it works. Um, see, where are we at here? Sinister's going nuts about his workout. Yeah, check out Sinister and his little workout vest. He's gonna be freaking buff before too long here. Okay, how's it going, Kevin? Um, how long was I in Prime before I got this dedicated? Um, shit. I just got on this account in August, right around there, of last year. So, but this is a newer dedicated account, so we didn't have this. I don't know when. I think this account popped up in May or June of last year, so we haven't had this account that long. Um, if you're looking to get on a dedicated, you need to get with your fleet manager, talk with them, find out what's in the area. Um, so it's brain fart. You got to live within close range of where you're picking up or where you're delivering. We have a lot of people that live near the Birmingham, Alabama area where we delivered one store. We got a lot of guys that live in the Murfreesboro, Cookville area. So we have they try and make it sure that you're close to home, so that way you're not having to grab a load to get you home. So that's one big factor on um, how you get into a dedicated lane. Pretty much just ask around in the Facebook groups on what's dedicated out there. I know Prime has a whole shitload of one or two truck dedicated that's not really talked about, and there's people that kind of shuffle in and shuffle out of those accounts. So you just kind of find out what's going on. Like there used to be, I don't know if it's still running, the waffle run from I forgot the name of the city. It's just east of Memphis in Tennessee that runs up to I want to call it Antioch, but it's not Antioch. It's US Cold Laverne, and they run US Cold Laverne back and forth. It's waffles literally going back and forth. I think there was 2 or 3 trucks on that account. I don't know if they're still doing it. I don't know if General Mills over here towards the Memphis side is still open. Um, so there is dedicated out there. You just got to ask or do the legwork and find them yourself. uh, Cool B must be what Swift or Sierra might have told his company to easy because the two companies couldn't deliver in time. Actually, we took over from Heartland, and I forgot who the other one was. Yeah, we passed by a whole bunch of stores. I think what people told me on the Sam's Club's account is each store is its own account. So it's kind of a little interesting on how that's going to pan out. I don't know if that's 100% true or not, so we'll find out. But before I did this account, I tried out the Intermodal. I did a video on that. I didn't like it because that was, instead of percentage paid, that was dropped down to a flat mileage rate. And that's also why I will kind of steer everyone away from jumping to a flat mileage rate company. So let's say your lease payment is, or your fixed cost is $1,200 you got to come up with a week. You got to chase miles and not chase loads. So it Intermodal, I think, would work great for company drivers. It just wasn't working for me for lease driver. So kind of keep that in mind. I know they are looking for intermodal drivers. hit me up on email. Let me know if you are interested in Intermodal, and I will pass your information on to the guys. Um, I think it's, let's say, at least Chicago, and I think the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. I think they're what they're really looking for. Good idea. What's your fixed cost? My fixed cost weekly is little over $1,300. I can't think of the number off the top of my head. It's like 1320 or 13 something. Um, so if you sit all week at home and don't turn in a single load, you're going to be negative $1,300 and change. Greg, I'm actually sitting at a truck stop right now. I'm about 11 miles south of the DC. The DC does not actually have parking for us or anything there. So we either sit here or we sit at the Lubs in Searcy or wherever we can make it back to with our hours. It pretty much with the name of this game is we want to pick up our load, we want to drop it, and we want to get as close back to the DC so we can get on the list for the next day to pick up a load and sit there and continue the cycle. As I said, in January, the freight dipped out a little bit on us. I was kind of expecting it, but since January, these past couple weeks, even when I came back off of home time for my birthday, um, there has been at least 6 to 11 loaded trailers sitting there waiting for us to run. So freight's been rocking and rolling again for us. So I can't be happier. Unless your company on the intermodal lane be a dedicated pay. I don't know how the last I heard for company for intermodal, it's how to say it. It's like a ring system. Um, or you want to call it like a floating pay, or no, Knight had a perfect sliding pay scale. Within so many miles, it's so much for that load. So say if it's within 50 miles, you're gonna get like $200 for that load. If it's 500 to so many miles, you're gonna get so much. I'm gonna get back with the intermodal guys to find out exactly which accounts they're looking for and what the pay is for the lease and company drivers, and get back with you guys on it. So that way you guys can know what's going on. So you say 1 or 2 loads pay you your fixed cost for the week. Yeah. Um, the longest load we do is 398 miles. That just about covers my fixed cost. Now I would still be in negative for fuel for the week. But that would cover my fixed cost. So 2 loads covers everything unless we get our short run, which is $800, but it's only about 8 hours of driving. So 2 loads, so that'd be 16. So we'd still a little bit short on covering fuel and fixed costs for the week. So pretty much 2 to 3. Once you hit 3 loads for the week, you're making money. It's real simple and real easy. I love this account. I wish we get more of these Sam's Clubs and kick more Heartland out of their stores and more. Oh, that's the other one we took over. We took over for Night, the dry van side of. We kicked them out of I think one of the stores or 2 of the stores. So because they were also constantly late. Okay, my poster. Go on that. Yeah. Kevin, well, I'm gonna be setting up doing interviews. So I'll set up. I'll get with you on that, and we can set up. Do an interview with you about your account and all that fun crap. So I'll get in touch with you about it. Other than that, man, stay safe. Financial, you may start out on the lease side as far as fuel tolls and covering your expense. All right. This is going to be a little bit interesting, and some of the um, owner ops out there are probably going to be pissed at me for saying this. I don't do my cost per mile. And I don't run by mileage. I run by 72% of the load, so it does not make sense to me to try and figure out on past data what I need to be covering for the week. So follow along with me on this. So worst case, my fixed cost is $1,400. That's my fixed cost. My fuel rate runs from $800 to $1,200. So I add in at worst case scenario, that's $1,200. So worst case, all said and done in expenses, I am looking at $2,600 a week I need to cover. Worst case. Now I don't have tolls, and the what the hell is it? The easy pass, the pre-pass crap. That's $1 for thing. I don't even worry about that. I'm not going to nickel and dime myself over that. Yeah, the pre-pass. So you're looking at 2,600 bucks. Divide that by 7. You're a little over $300 a day that you need to make just to cover your fixed cost. My minimum I want to run while I'm out here is $500 a day. I don't care about mileage because a lot of our loads are not going to be. Oh, I won't take a load that pays $500 that does 1,000 miles. Doesn't make sense. That's the advantage of being lease. So as long as the mileage and the pay makes sense, I'll run it. So what I do is you figure at 7 days a week at $500, that's $3,500. I'm at least going to see a paycheck. You got to figure out what you need to be actually making to cover your expenses back home on top of what your fixed cost is. So if you can't survive off of what your worst case scenario is going to be of, let's say you run a full week and you only get $3,500 in revenue, you're going to be looking at an $800 to a $1,100 paycheck take home, and then you got to worry about taxes on top of that. Now that's kind of worst case you're going to see as a lease op unless you took time off or you get shut down due to weather or repairs. But running 7 days a week, that should be your worst case scenario. If you can't survive that, then lease is not going to be the option for you. It's that plain and simple. You got to learn how to. That's kind of a lot of reasons why we recommend, or a lot of good trainers will recommend you go company first before you jump into lease, and especially lease purchase. Yeah. Like Sinister just said, he did 3,700 gross last week and took home 1188. Now his fixed cost is a little bit cheaper than ours, so you got to figure in. Let's say our fixed cost is probably, I want to guess, about $450 less than his. So add minus 450 on that. Worst case, on what Sin ran, we would be seeing about $730. Oh, so his fixed cost is 1126. So rough case, that's 28 or $280 less. So yeah, $900. Yeah. As Chad said, his fleet manager will never have me gripe or hear him gripe as long as he make 4 to 5K per week. If you start worrying about nickel and diamond, oh well, this load doesn't pay crap, or this load doesn't pay crap. Like we have some backhauls that get us back over here. Um, it would be hell, those are still even good rates. It's 300 miles to deliver. We'll call it, yeah. It's I think it's 320 miles to deliver, and it's paying $600. Usually they're dropping hook. If even not, you take your 10-hour break, you run it in, and then you have a fresh clock to get up here and grab a load and go. So it's you got to learn how to make your money on the situation you're in. Um, but it's kind of hard to really break down um how I can't personally tell you how to run your truck. It's kind of that's where on the training side it's kind of hard for us to get into all that with our students is we can't get into the business side of shit because we're so focused on trying to get through all the driving side of it. So if you're still stuck on what macros to send and you're almost done with your 30,000 miles of training, we can barely touch on your how to run a business. So that's why a lot of trainers will focus on how to get you to successfully drive the truck, and you're going to have to learn the business side of this yourself. Yeah, just keep running. That's the biggest thing where a lot of people get themselves in trouble if they. Me and Sin have talked. He go watch his videos and look at all his repair costs that he's had on his used truck. Like where people say, "Oh, why don't you jump out of Prime and go get yourself a used truck?" I mean, Sin's out there fighting tooth and nail to cover the repair costs of his truck to keep himself running. And I take my hat off to him for being able to do it. Now, me personally, in my situation, without having the financial security of my wife working back home, I can't do it. I got to worry about the mortgage and worry about child care for my youngest and everything else. I'm not going to put myself in that situation. Yeah. Chad was, I bet you that was team at 6,200 revenue, and he took home 3K. My best week I have done on this account and why I love this account, as I said, was 5,900 as a solo driver. My goal is I want to push it and get myself over 6,000 K revenue as a solo driver. Why are freight rates bad? I keep reading articles about driver shortage, blah blah blah. Um, there's driver shortage. There's here. Here's my opinion on it. And again, this is just my opinion on the situation of it. The reason why people are complaining that there is shortage in freight, well, it's that time of year. Produce. I can only speak on Reefer. Produce freight has died off right now. Shit's just not growing. It'll start picking up here in about a month or so. Um, the other side of it too is a lot of companies are going over and getting themselves contracted freight. What that means is like Walmart, like how we pick up out of the Walmart out there in Southern California. God damn, I can't remember cities to save my mind. And those are usually our money loads running out to New York or Lewiston, Maine, or hell, even into Ohio. It's great money. But right now, with the lack of produce, those loads aren't there. And also, I said with a lot of companies switching over to contract freight, they're going to mega carriers who've got the trucks, trailers, and all that, where we can go in, and it's not only us, but Swift and everyone else. They can go in, throw them 100 trailers to be sitting at the yard for them to load up at their convenience. We grab them, take them out once they're loaded. So what that does is that drops a lot of that freight off the spot market, because usually a lot of those good paying loads that are on the spot market, what they don't tell you is that's the leftover contracted freight that those companies couldn't haul. So they need a truck there now. So that's why that rate is freaking awesome. I've talked to a couple of my buddies on the flatbed side with that, and they noticed that where it's literally that freight needs to be picked up now and delivered now, and they're getting some ridiculous rates. Chad's going home Tuesday. Yeah, he's going to be breaking his bed. Just saying. Yeah, on the yard for 3 days. Yep. Yeah, 6,000 revenue on a team truck. It's not bad, but it's also not great. I bet you Chad would have loved to seen a 10K week last week. Yeah, it's sinister said right there. Go home when debt's paid off. You got to understand what your bills are back home to take care of before you dig yourself deeper in the hole while you're running. That's what cracks me up when you get in. I don't know if anyone in here is looking at coming to Prime or coming in the Prime in the near future. You're going to run into drivers over there at the smoking section of the Campus Inn telling all these wonderful flipping stories about how Prime's screwing them, they're not making any money. And, oh, you start talking to them. First off, find out why the hell they're sitting there on the yard, especially at the Campus Inn. Most of them are there because they've got a boatload of critical events, which is hard brakes, rollover warnings, overspeed, everything else, and they have to take a safety class because of their unsafe driving. Worst case, they get put on the top 200 list, and then I think some of them they're even putting cameras in the truck if you were that close to being in an accident. What the top 200 is the top 200 drivers that are most likely to be in an accident. Truck. This week I had a 5K from New Hampshire to California, 3,800 from Cali to India. Yep. So yeah. So besides asking them for critical events and all that, some of the guys I'm hear horror stories about married guys or whatnot picking up their side piece over there at the campus or just hanging out. It We call them terminal rats for a reason. They'll go out and run 5, 6 days and have to be back at a terminal. If that's your situation and you can't handle being out on the road for a minimum of 3 weeks, I don't give a crap if your company lease or own your truck. If you can't handle running 3 weeks, you should not be out here in this trucking industry, especially in an OTR company. Prime is not known for dedicated. I just got lucky and got on a dedicated account. We lost our three major reefer dedicated. So a lot of those guys either bounced out of Prime to somewhere else, or they're OTR, or they did create a Midwest regional for them to jump on too. But get on the side of that, you guys are getting me on a rant. Breathe. All right. If you're having problems with revenue, freight, or any your truck at Prime or any company you're at, you need to raise up your hand or pick up your lovely phone, pick up your phone, call somebody at Prime. There are more than one person who are willing to work with you. If you pick up your phone to your fleet manager and say, "Hey, what's going on with my revenue for the week? I'm not at where I think I should be at." If he can't give you a proper answer or an answer to your satisfaction, move up the food chain. There is a fleet manager supervisor that's over all of them. Go ask to talk to them. If your fleet manager won't let you work on him, move up the food chain. It's I don't it's You got to understand you need to get yourself out of trouble before you dig yourself in too far before you get screwed. I know there's lease drivers that have gotten hurt while they are out here on the road or had a medical problem, got with their fleet manager. The truck sat for a week by the time they organized this, but they set up a company driver to take over running the truck so that way at least that truck was making money so it wasn't constantly in the hole and just sitting there. And you also got to understand on the flip side of that too is lease or lease purchase is not going to be for everybody. I'm going to do up a separate video breaking down what truly the difference is between company lease and lease purchase. That's going to be on a separate video. Um, it's what's going to be the interesting. I know there were Prime's going through that lawsuit on it. I don't know too much of the facts on it, but anyways, if you're not making any money or you're only making $500 to $800 a week as a lease operator, you need to know when to walk away. Plain and simple. There is no guarantee as a lease or lease purchase that you are going to see a paycheck. Nowhere in your contract does it say, oh, yeah, you're going to see at least $1,000 minimum guaranteed. Now, there are some companies out there that do that. Prime is not one of them. You got to understand what you're getting into. Okay, Chad, go get some sleep, man. I know you got to have some fun running out of Illinois there. Yeah, it's kind of a lot of people. What they do, they'll get themselves all right. They run, they get a $400 check, or even before they leave their yard. Please don't do this. Everyone that's coming in, please pay attention to this. When you first upgrade from you get out of training from TNT and you're upgrading to your own truck, do not walk in there, even if you're lease or company or whatnot, and go, okay, I need a refrigerator, I need the satellite TV, I need a chain box, I need navigation, I need all this crap put onto monthly payments. So many people dig themselves in the hole right out the gate. Even as I forgot what the exact amount is. You're looking at close to $1,000, let's say, as a reefer driver in cost to get out the door. Between your chains, load locks, they want you to tool set. I did up a video on why, as a reefer driver, you need jumper cables, um, and all the stuff you need to have before you hit out the door. So it's very important with you that you understand that you don't want to dig yourself in the hole more before you get out running. As a company driver, you have Navigo built into the Qualcomm. Now it's not the greatest, no, but will you get you to point A to point B? Yes. On the other side of that, I always recommend you Google Maps your pickup and your delivery location to make sure that it's taking you to the right spot. Even on your Rad McNally or Garmin, they're not 100% accurate. Always Google Map your addresses to make sure you're driving in the right way. That's also the nice thing about that satellite, or even go to freaking Street View, and you know you're going in the right way. I knew a driver who was pissed and was going to have, I'm not going to mention names, and he was going to have a sit down meeting with whoever was running Navigo because it took him to wrong address like 3 different times. I'm like, seriously? I'm like, you need to Google Maps to make sure it's not a guarantee to be accurate. All GPSs are a guide. Now you get some of these drivers, well, use your Atlas. Okay, Atlas is good from getting you from major city to major city. Show me one single address that's going to show you local streets in the town. Yep. David said it right. That's what Google Maps is for. You need to have a smartphone out here. Technology on that side of it, Google has made this shit so much easier for drivers. It's not even funny. Between Google Maps and Google Earth, you should be able to tell where you're going to. If you still can't find it, because I've had that where literally pull up Google Maps and it's a field. Call up your fleet manager, be like, hey, I'm looking at maps. Navigo is not making sense on where it's taking me to. Can you they will get with the customer or have sales get with the customer and find out how to get to that place for you. Because a lot of times they don't give us correct phone numbers, or it's the wonderful either 0000000 or 88888 all the way across. So they don't like to give us phone numbers to check on these places. So you got to learn, that's part of the process of why you got to learn some of the BS that goes on with this industry before you jump out and try and tackle it all yourself. I need a drink. You used to call the customer a lot. Yeah, call the customer if you have a correct number. As I said, a lot of times we don't have a correct number, or you get the stupid security guard. And now I used to work security, so I can't bash too much. But we all know some of these security guards are one slight breeze away from death, so they're kind of pointless. Anyways, but yeah, if you can actually get a hold of a customer and they're willing to talk you in, I know a lot of flatbedders, that's pretty much what you have to do, especially when they go, here's your GPS coordinates. Good luck finding it. Hey, Randy, how's it going? Um, it's a good pastime while you're on your 30 to check on your pre-planned route. Yes, check, recheck. I've gotten myself in trouble before on time zones, and my last service failure I had kind of was my fault, but kind of wasn't. Prime dispatched it to me one way, it was loaded the other way. So Prime dispatched me as for the 02 and the 90. It was actually loaded the opposite, and that's what the paperwork said, the opposite. Now, when I did my live loaded call, they didn't catch it. I didn't catch it that it was opposite. So I made my way to what I thought was my 02, but was actually Prime had it as my 90. Woke up in the morning and then realized that it was the wrong place. So that was my last service failure. I made it within, I was still only about 15 minutes late, so I can't be too bothered by it. But I literally rolled in and they offloaded it without even question or any problems, all that. So one of these times I'm going to get with my fleet manager and see if I could fight that one. The wind and only got my truck shaking like my yeah. Yeah, Chad was up in Mount Vernon, Illinois, and yeah, they stopped there because they're empty and they were rocking and rolling. So I believe some of these customer shippers do it purposely putting a valid phone on the paper. I mean, you get to the point where I think so too. But you gotta look everything. I try and look at two sides. Driver's side, yes, we wish we had an active phone number. Customer side, I mean, we see it out here dealing with some of these truck drivers. Would you want to get phone calls from them all the time? Just like I don't have to personally deal with it, but I'm sure there's probably at least one person in here. I think Sin, you got to deal with brokers. Do you want to deal with how do you like brokers calling you every freaking hour checking on the status of your load? They should park and not drive in an earlier. Yeah, yeah. David, I talked about that in the beginning of the video about knowing when to shut down. Prime will support you as long as it's pretty much verifiable that the weather is crappy. You just can't make it up, and they will support your right to park. Yeah, come on, where they can charge the company to be late fee. Yep. Yeah. Some of these refrigerated places, I've seen it. Where was it? It's a cold storage place. They gave you a 2-hour window. If you were later than 2 hours, it was a $250 fine, and you had to pay that before they'd load you or unload you. So it's this industry is getting really freaking weird. That's all I can say. Yeah, since you deal with brokers calling, blowing up your phone as a driver, and it some points I'm sure Sim just wants to throw his phone out the window for it, but he doesn't want to lose the customers. So, who's on flatbed to follow Prime? Oh shit, who's the hell's left? I'm trying to think. I really don't know of any off the top of my head that are still here. I know there. Larry's. I'll dig into it, man, and see if I can find anybody. Um, I know LaShawn did a bunch of videos. You're gonna have to go to his past videos about flatbed. TB did some about the flatbed side. Um, my buddy Steven, he had some up on flatbed. I don't think there's any though that are really active right now on YouTube on flatbed side. I think there's one tanker guy. I got to figure out who that is. Woody's running his, yeah, Woody did some, but he's no longer, he's over running his own company under RST. Um, yeah, I can't really think of anybody off the top of my head on the flatbed side. There is a whole boatload of newer drivers coming out here doing YouTube. Um, when they're first going through the training process and getting their trucks, which is cool to see. Trying to think of, I think there's one tanker guy. I don't remember who the hell he is though, but I think he does like PSD training only. There you go. Yeah, John, that's it. Yeah, other than that, we're all pretty much reefer because that's. I'll explain this. It's kind of the easiest side of it. Reefer is the bread and butter side of Prime. Now, there are a lot of people that are flatbed, die hard. I'm only going to do flatbed, and that's the only thing I'm going to touch. If you can get it to work for you, it can work great. Tanker, I want to touch. That's just me personally. But you can get into it and learn how to run it. Good for you. I don't want to deal with, especially on the lease side, dealing with the deadhead for washouts on tanker side. But that's me personally. Ugh. Trying to think. Man, my sinus is just went nuts. John did radio for years. Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't actually watched too much of his stuff. So I can probably list about like 10 different freaking reefer guys. A lot of them I'm just finding. So, but the kind of nice thing to see is there is a lot more females coming out here on the YouTube side, on the reefer side too. Um, here's I'm seeing this kind of trend not just at Prime, but people who want to be, I don't know, in the social media spotlight. We'll put it that way. Do not start a live feed or interact with your live feed while you are driving. Now, I've sat down with one of our media people about this, and I showed my camera, and because they told me they didn't even want you to do any recorded videos while driving, because they're like, well, it's more than one touch. Because you got to remember, most state laws require that it can, even for your cell phone, it has to be one touch. Great thing about the way I got my GoPro set up, all I got to do is press the button up on top and it'll start recording. But I see a lot of people starting up Facebook Live, and the first second that it pops up, they're already rolling down the road. Now, will that get you in trouble at Prime? Maybe, maybe not. But where I was told where the issue is going to get into is if you ever get into an accident, they're going to go through your social media, especially if they find out that you're on YouTube or you're on Facebook all the time. And they're going to use that as evidence of distracted driving. And what that means as a truck driver, that they prove that you are distracted driving, no matter if it wasn't even your fault, you are now at fault. It kind of goes to the philosophy of also too is know where you park. Because if you are parked like some of the on ramps and off ramps in some states or even different cities, it's illegal to park there. Or I think it was a case where guy freaking parked on the shoulder. I don't know why the hell he would decide to park on the shoulder of the interstate, but he did. Even if the guy is absolutely pissed drunk and runs into the back of you and you are parked illegally, you are now at fault. It goes to the same thing as in your logbooks. If your logbooks don't add up, and that's why they switched to e-logs. They don't want to talk about it because you can't fake your freaking e-logs, and they find out that your logbooks and you shouldn't have been driving at that time frame. Does not matter that situation, you are now 100% fault for that accident because you should not have been there. So think about that when you hear some of these drivers talk about what they're doing with their paper logs. Oh yeah, Randy, you said FedEx, you had to prove you've done everything possible to prevent an accident. Not only do you got to prove that you did it, now you're going for a drug test, and guess what? It's not urine; they're taking blood. Oh, I told Sin about this. I'm going to be doing a kind of a reaction video. I found police video where I'm not going to mention company right now, but truck driver pretty much confessed to, I don't know how much he was transporting, but I think they confiscated, let's say, or like their packages about like that big of edibles from California. Now, okay, it could be California, it's legal. But where they pulled him over was in Orlando, Florida. That's some nice trafficking laws he just broke right there. And I'm gonna dig a little more into it. So keep that in mind. I've talked about it several times about students coming in. If you think you're going to piss dirty, do not come in. Do not waste your time. You will not like the results if you have a dirty drug test. Because you're pretty much told, there's the door, find your own way home. I think that's also why the bum population in Springfield's gone up a lot. But can't 100% prove that, but that's my theory. Plus, let's say, all right, hey, I passed my random. Now I'm going to go on home time. Or I'm a truck driver. I'm going to go to Colorado, California, where it is 100% legal in those states to use marijuana. But guess what? It's not federally legal for you to do it. You get in a wreck, I don't know how long, or I think it depends on, I'm sure someone else is going to know how long that stays in your system. You are screwed if you pop dirty and you get in a wreck. Yeah, Michael said it. Really, no point even trying. There are several at-home tests you can do if you think you are going to test positive to make sure you're going to be clean before you get here. And you need to stay away from it. I'll go into this rant for a little bit. You hear people say, I've said it, you'll hear people say, trucking's not a job, it's not a career, it's a lifestyle. You're going to get out here, you're going to find out you're either going to love it or you're going to hate it. I absolutely love this job. I cannot see me doing anything else but this job. With that being said, I'm not going to let people stop me from doing this job or this lifestyle. So I've had family members had a problem with me coming out to Prime. Didn't really talk to them too much. I've seen, if you're getting into it, your spouse is not supporting you while you're out here on the road. You got to consider this. Were you happier with her or are you happier out here on the road? It's one of those situations where you'll see a lot of divorces pop up through this industry. It's a lot of guys love this out here, and that's where you'll actually see a lot of drivers get into their later years that die in their truck. It's same thing as dying in their home. They love this lifestyle so much that they're just going to keep going until they die. It's not because they can't quit. Some of them it might be, but a lot of them just love this lifestyle and what we do, the freedom for what we do, and till it just going to keep doing it. No point to stop. As long as you're happy and you're making the money you need to make, do not let anyone else shit on your goals. I tell people when they come, they contact me and they're looking at going to Prime. Use Prime as your stepping stone. Get your year in, get your experience, see what opens up. With your year, you're going to kind of know exactly what you're going to be getting out of Prime. Not much changes. The only change for me from my first year lease to now going to be my fourth year of lease on my second truck. The only difference is I got on this dedicated account. The only difference between my pay and what a brand new student out of orientation pay is I know how to run harder. Other than that, we're still making the exact same 72%. So let that sink in. Are you going to be happy sitting there looking at it 10 years down the road? Brand new rookie can make the same amount of money that you were making if they've got the heart to run. That's all it comes down to is what you got here. That's the only thing that's going to stop you is here. I know Sin went through some shit with his personal life. Go look at Woody. He put it out there. He went through a divorce. You got to really understand what's keeping you happy, what's dragging you down. As I said, I've lost contact with a lot of family because they don't understand what I'm doing. What it boils down to for me, which might be totally different from you guys, there is three people on the top of my pyramid that I care about. My wife, my two daughters. Fortunately for everyone else out here, they come before all else. They become before me. I will go hungry and live off of ramen food on my truck or whatever else I can scrounge up to live off of to make sure I know they've got roof over their head, electricity's paid, they've got food, their schooling's paid for. I'm going to make sure they are set up for the best life I can possibly give them. Now, if you're not willing to make that sacrifice to make sure that your family's taken care of and you're more cared about your drinking habits or your drug habits or your extramarital affairs, or even your gambling problems. I had a guy contact me. I don't know if it was a troll or not, but either which way, he contacted me. He goes, I can't go more than 3 days without gambling. Can't prime accommodate me. If you're that bad in shape with something, you need to get that fixed before you come out here. Now, also on the side of it too is I've told you guys some of the personal crap I've gone through in my life out here. Some of it's personal, some of it's some kind of public stuff that happened. Like with the Chad Daniels incident. Um, for some of you that don't know, he was our driver that was killed in Jessup, Maryland, 2 or 3 years now. I think it's coming up on 3. Yeah, 3 years this Easter. Easter Sunday, he was killed in that parking lot, and I was there. I did up a video about it. I'll probably put it back out. Um, but we go through a lot of shit out here as truck drivers. Not only as what we go through in our personal life and situations like that where you're going to see death, you're going to be the first person on scene of major accidents. Um, but not only that, I'll say it, not all fleet managers are great. So not only are you dealing with personal problems, you're dealing with an asshole fleet manager, and they're not getting you home when you need to get home after you've been down the road for 4 to 6 weeks, out here trying to get things, and you're trying to get home for birthday or holiday or whatever else. It's or even I mean, some of these truck stops, it goes both ways. I'll just say racism is alive and well in this country. Not too many people want to say that, and it's not just one way. There's a lot of people out here, especially truck drivers, that absolutely hate anyone that's from the Middle East that's out here driving a truck. My personal opinion is as long as you're not hurting, if you're out here doing the job and doing what you're supposed to be doing safely, all are welcome. You need help, I will help anybody. I've given cash, I've given shower credits, I've given food. Hell, I've even had drivers sit in my truck with me because their companies don't have APUs in the freaking, I think it was 105 degrees. So I cranked up the APU in the truck so that helped keep them cool during the summer and just hang out and bullshit with them for a little bit. That's the type of brotherhood we need to bring back to get this truck industry coming back the right way. And the other side of it is where I'm going to be going into on my what the difference between company lease purchase, owner out. Some of these groups that are out here, I'm not going to mention names, that are fighting ELDs and going for the rights and all that. If you say you are a company driver, you are the scum of the earth. They don't want to hear from you. You say you're a lease driver, they don't want to hear from you. You say you are even lease purchase, they don't want to hear it. And mega carrier, you're the devil. I don't care what trucking company you drive for. If you're making money and you're happy, that's what this industry is all about. Now, if I come across a driver like I've had drivers come up to me from other mega carriers saying, I'm only making this amount. How much are you guys averaging? And I will only give you guys averages because what I make is not going to be what you're going to make. And let you know what we're doing. If you're only making $600 out here, even at Prime, get out. Unless you're happy with it. If you're unhappy with your pay, your home time, or any of that, you kind of need to do that homework before you get out here. And as I said before, know when to walk away. Now, if Prime loses his account, will I go back OTR? I don't know. Personally, I don't know. I know what my OTR money is as solo. I don't know if I could do that. That'll be a serious conversation me and the wife are going to have. And also, I'm going to have to sit down with my fleet manager. Will I go back to training? Really don't know. What I'm going to get into that too, and that's where I want to get in with Chad, or even what they're even realizing is running TNT and then just kind of constantly going PSD TNT, PSD TNT, PSD TNT. Money can be great, can be. It burns you out quick. Because then you also have the responsibility of teaching that student, making sure that they are good to go. And what a lot of people don't talk about is even running, because TNT we run as team. That trainer, you're going to be up every time that student backs. You're going to be getting used to the way that truck sounds. You're going to hear that the engine's starting to slow down for an off ramp. You're going to wake up. Even if you don't have to help them back into a backing spot, you're going to be up, kind of like what's going on. They're going to run into issues where like all of a sudden I've had one hit the shoulder because the Qualcomm and navigation jumped way the hell out of route, which had lost satellite signal, and like ask what's going on. Pop up real quick, like, oh yeah, it just lost signal. You're on the right route. Make sure you got to kind of keep in mind what your first step is to your second step. But got them through it. And that's where some of my students would get pissed at me because I would run, so you kind of know how you run. I run shifts when I was doing TNT. I put my students on 6A to 6P. I'd run 6P to 6A. I don't want to put students in the middle of the night to begin with. And you'll get some people, well, I don't do that because that's not realistic to when they go solo. Team driving is not realistic when they go solo. That truck moving is not what life is like when they go solo. What I turn around and do to get them kind of used to not having a set schedule is that last week is I call Hell Week. Only time I'm driving is going to be during your 10-hour break, but that is the very last week that you are on my truck. So, and also during most of the time when my students sleep at night, I've only had, or I don't think I ever had to wake up a student. I was tired with my co-driver once. Good night, Randy. I pull. This is a fun one. High val load, delivering pharmaceutical, navigation, and Rand McNally and Navigo all set, and even the directions to the place. I didn't Google Map it, and after this, I really started Google Mapping it. Also, the place, make the turn, places on the left. Okay, make turn. I'm like, well, that's kind of a tight left, and that's a really weird looking building. Pull up to it, it's big ass guard shack, and it goes into a like gated inspection building. It's got a garage door on it. I'm like, what the hell is this place? I get up there and I realize I just pulled up to a Federal Reserve. The place I was supposed to be delivering to is across the street and back a little bit on the right. So that's where a lot of you got to be checking out where you're going to make sure that you're going to the right place. I had to wake him up because it was a pain in the ass blindside to back out onto the street again. Got it done, didn't run anything over. He went back to bed. I went about my business. That's what you kind of got to do as a trainer. Is your student's going to put you in weird situations. You're going to be woken up in the middle of sleep. You're going to be grumpy. Students need to realize your trainer's going to be grumpy when you wake up after about 2 or 3 hours of sleep. Get through the situation you get through. I go back to bed. I don't even worry about it. So you got to have communication going. I tell all my students, don't take a lot of shit when I tell to you that it's personal. If I say anything that offends you, we'll talk about it in the truck. And if I can't give you a correct answer or an answer you like, call my fleet manager. I don't care. I think that's where I pissed off a lot of my students is it boils down to where I don't care. You want to call my fleet manager, go ahead. So, does Prime have a lot of flatbed hauls, and is it seasonal too? Yes, flatbed freight does slow down during the winter because they're not building. They have a good amount of flatbed. It's only gripe I know of people with flatbed is it's all general commodity stuff. So you're talking lumber, pipe, stuff like that. You're not going to get into a lot of specialty stuff at all at Prime, especially there's no RGN or anything else like that. We don't have it. They have some step deck freight, but that's limited. So that's kind of the issue with the flatbed side. Yes. So with that, with general commodity, you're throwing tarps. And that's one of the major reasons why I didn't go flatbed is I'm not going out there in either 110-degree direct sunlight, freaking roasting my balls off or going to go out there in -10 and you're looking at a -40 wind chill with 40-mile-per-hour winds trying to tarp. Screw that. I'll open and close my doors back in the dock, wait 5 hours for them to unload my crap while I'm sitting there playing freaking PlayStation 4. So that's why I chose Reefer over flatbed. So, all right, we covered a lot of topics tonight. We are just over almost an hour 20 into this. So go ahead and knock out your questions. I'll probably be cutting this here shortly. Probably go to a minute, hour 30. So about 11 minutes left, and I'm going to cut this. I'm going to work on some other stuff. Does Prime run freight into Canada or just the U.S.? We do go into Canada. I don't know how much we do anymore, but we do go into Canada. As I said, I just don't know how much. I don't have my passport, so I couldn't tell you. Now, a lot of guys, when I'll just say this, a lot of you'll, when you go through your PSD part, go through your orientation, not your orientation. After you get your CDL, one of the stops they're going to want you to go is go to the passport office and get your, or the post office and get your passport. Um, I couldn't get mine because at that time, um, government was shut down. So kind of hard. Can't get a passport when the government's shut down. Thank you for going live and answer your question. Yeah, no problem. Hey, that's what I'm here for. Um, Even if you're catching this on the replay or later on, you come up with a stupid question, the same name as my YouTube channel for my Facebook page and also for my Gmail account. So jacasvlogs at gmail.com. Feel free to email me or get a hold of me through Facebook. The Facebook's got a messenger app. I try and check it. Sometimes some weird stuff happens with it and messages get lost. So if you don't hear from me, I'd say within a day, bug me again. I'll get with you guys. Trying to think. I've got Instagram, same name. Put a bunch of pictures up. Kind of go scroll through comments here, make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, doing the lease program, are you able to save money to buy a truck? Depends on your situation, truthfully. Depends on what you're going through, man. You're gonna have some stuff that, like a lot of my money I had saved up went through a lot of um, personal stuff. But with a lease, and I'm gonna explain it in my separate video, straight lease, you're not buying that truck. You're going to get a lease buyout when you turn in that truck. I'll go over how that works. A lot of people then will turn around and use that lease buyout to put down on ordering a new truck. I'll go through all that in the other video. Yeah, Kenworth had a breakaway in 19-year marriage. I released a video. Yeah, I saw that. Trolls are out there. I'm sure I get them on my recording. I'm surprised not too many have jumped into my lives yet. So I'm going to be also trying to reach out to Trucker Nene and see if I can do an interview with her. I know I'm going to work out with Sinister, Crazy Bags, Chad Rich. I'm going to reach out to a different recruiting company just in case you guys can't get into Prime. So that way you got another option to go to that way. Or someone to go to if Prime rejects you for whatever reason. So I'm going to try and get with them. I'm going to try and get with Prime's. It's not Prime's program. It's a program called Prime Good Dads. I did shit, my brain start podcast with them a while ago, and then be working on with them with more stuff, and I want to try and become a bigger part of that and get more information out there about them. I believe it's a great program for dads, for truck drivers who are dads. I want to see if we can kind of get that open up a little bit more than just prime drivers into it. So I want to talk with them about all that program. Um, Thanks for answering the question. No problem, man. I'm planning on going to Prime in the next few months once the weather gets better. Yep. It's a smart thing to get some. When you come out here from pretty much scratch, I did it where I literally pretty much didn't have much money at all. I think maybe $100 in checking, but I timed it out because I was getting paid every 2 weeks. I timed it out where that Friday I had a full week. When I came to orientation that next week, I had a week of pay, and also they paid out my week of vacation that I earned. So I had another full week after that first. So that next week, I had another full paycheck. And then by the time I got through past PSD, it was a little bit longer than what it is now. But By the time I got my CDL, I wasn't screwed. I just needed money. You got to plan it out and make sure you're covered. Should I get my permit before coming out, or just go and wait to? If you're, yeah, I'm still alive, man. About to end it. If you're going to Salt Lake City or Pittston, I believe you have to have your permit. Yeah, you have to have your permit before you go to those facilities. If you're going to Springfield, Missouri, you have to take your permit in Springfield. It's a Missouri law, because I think they were realizing how much money they were losing by transferring permits at Prime from out of state to Missouri. So they realized that they could be making all that permit money. So find out where you're going. If you're Salt Lake and Pittston are kind of smaller groups, the majority of people will be going to Springfield. So suggest you download the Missouri CDL handbook and study the sections. I did up a video not too long ago about what you need to study, or how to pass your CDL permit test, and I go over that. So, yeah, pretty much from Michigan. Yeah, you'll be in Springfield. So you want to study your study the Missouri CDL handbook. Although prime recruiter, since I already had my Class A, I've been hauling lowboy oversized loads for 8 months now. I need to go with 3 or 2 weeks after rotation. So waiting a call back. Richard, with that, hey, Sen, have a good night. Stay safe, and I'll give you a shout tomorrow when I'm running. I don't know how long ago it is that you reached out to them or the communication was. Best bet, I say, with any communication with the recruiter, give them 2 days. If they haven't gotten back to you in 2 days, just either email them or call them and find out what's going on to get a heads up. Last week it can happen. It all depends on, because they run. Break this down real quick. When you apply to Prime, they run a basic background on you. The kind of crappy thing is where a lot of people find out their full detailed background check doesn't come in until you get to Prime, because they're not going to pay all that money on a background check if you're not showing up. So that's kind of where some of these one YouTuber kind of got kicked out because of his background, because something flagged up from his past that he wasn't able to work up at Prime, but it wasn't on that immediate list. So just follow up with them. If you can't get a hold of them, if you got your recruiter's name, their phone number, and email, and I would say, what day is it? Sunday. If you reach out to them tomorrow and they don't get with you, and you don't hear back through them by Tuesday, get a hold of me through one of my things I said, and I will reach out to somebody for you and see if I can get them to find out what's going on for you and get them to have your recruiter call you. So a lot of times you got to imagine Prime. I'll just break this down. Prime's looking at bringing between 100 to 150 students every week. That's what's coming into Springfield. That's not let alone the number of people that apply they have to talk to and have something, either background or whatever else, or that just never show up, that they got to deal with. So you got to imagine these recruiters are probably have to deal with 500 plus people a week, which I hate the phone, so I don't envy their job. So if you don't get a hold of them tomorrow, if you don't hear anything back by Tuesday, probably past noon, reach out to me, man. I'll make some contacts for you. I'll probably be live again by Tuesday, probably sometime. Let me know how it goes. I said, if not, I will reach out, or I would need either which way. Best way to email me, and then that way I can get your full name, and then that way I can pass it on to the my recruiter person to see what the hell is going on. Driver Pulse app if we recruiter that way. Yeah. I have no idea how that Pulse app works, but yeah. Pretty much that 2 to 3 weeks. I believe you got to have over a year experience OTR for them to pretty much come into orientation. Here's your keys, way to go. You're right, kind of on that bubble, and it also depends if you were running true OTR or if you're like regional or local. So that's why it's kind of they just want pretty much that 2 to 3 weeks that you're going to be out is just to make sure first off that you can safely drive with a trainer, and then also teach you how to do shit Prime's way, pretty much how to do the paperwork, make sure you do the Qualcomm, understand all the different messages and how everything works. So pretty much, yeah. So Archaeology, yeah. So with that little being regional, that's why they want to make sure in that 2 to 3 weeks you are going to see major mountains and all that. So that way they want to make sure you're fully trained on how to handle everything. Pretty much all it is. I know it sucks, and it's probably I don't know what the pay is for it. I don't know if it's $600 or $700 a week. But get with your recruiter to be able to tell you on that what the actual pay is for that time frame. But I know it kind of sucks. That's part of one of the things I want to get with Prime and work on is yeah, yeah. Um our refresher program is kind of extensive compared to elsewhere, which is kind of a good thing but also kind of a bad thing. So she's made me do flatbed. Wanting. It's up to you. I don't know where you live at, man. It kind of depends on where you live, but also it's solely up to you. On anything you do here at Prime, it is Mississippi. Okay, yeah. Let's. I run to Tupelo. It's one of our stores I run to. So even reefer freight, you're not gonna you'll be able to get home with these. So that's not an issue. Um, do what you want to do. If you want to run reefer, not flatbed, say I want to do flatbed. Don't let anyone convince you. If you want to do flatbed, do not go out with reefer. If you want to go company, go company. If your heart's so set saying I'm going to go out here and jump lease, go do lease. But you also need to understand between company and lease what you're getting into. But as far as division wise, go do what you want to go do. Don't let them say, oh, no, you can't do that. Unless the freight is not in that area for that division. Like if you lived in Washington State, tanker's probably not going to work out for you. Just saying. I know there's certain areas where they'll say you can't go company, but if you go lease, because the freight's not going to be there, so that way you're going to have to eat the fuel cost to get home. So kind of keep that in mind. Look at it come to Prime in June. Team flatbed. Yeah, it's the freight's there to do it. I don't know if you got somebody lined up that you want to team with, or if you're just looking for a random person. There's some trainers that will take you out training and then keep you as a teammate. So kind of keep that in mind. Also, too, if you're coming out here brand new, you're going to be running team as in TNT side. You're going to see exactly how that is. You might get to it and realize that running team absolutely sucks, and you can't sleep in a moving truck. So that way, you're going to want to go solo once you go get through training. So that's why I kind of tell everyone that with that is if you want to run solo or if you're thinking about running team, wait till you get through training to fully make up your mind on it, because you're going to find out exactly how running team is during training. Good for your area. Yeah. Ask your recruiter, and basically, with the best advice I can get you with your recruiter is be specific and blunt as possible. Don't beat around the bush with stuff. If you got something in your history that's questionable, put it out there. If you live in a certain area, be like, hey, I live in, let's pick a weird spot. Um, I live in Boise, Idaho. What freight do you have running through that area where I could get home on an easy basis? So do that before you jump into the company and realize, yeah, we barely go there. Um, so just be blunt with them. Be like, hey, I live here in This is the city I live in, Mississippi. What's your best freight that's going to be getting through the area? Uh, I don't know what part of Mississippi you're in, but I said we run the northern part all the time. We do a whole boatload of between Georgia and Alabama. If there's a Tyson anywhere near you, we're more than likely going to that plant. So, so keep that in mind. Um, yeah, Las Vegas, Nevada is least flatbed. Yeah, because there's no real freight to really get you kind of close as company side, so they're going to want you to eat that fuel cost to go home. I think the only true area that they don't hire of is like south of Orlando, pretty much. Like if you live in Miami, Florida, you're pretty much not going to get down that prime. We have flowers down there, but it's going to be too much of a pain to get you in and out of home. Um, so my recruiters, we have. What the hell was that up in Idaho? Um, where the hell is? I was trying to think of the city earlier. I don't know if anyone in here knows. Where's the Chobani in Idaho? Is it Twin Falls? It's been too long since I've been up there. But yeah, your recruiter will kind of tell you um, on what's running through there. I know we do a lot of flatbed freight up there to that northwest, but me personally, I don't want to be driving a truck anywhere. Okay, Twin Falls. So we do have reefer freight going into Twin Falls, or not in, but out of Twin Falls. Um, but I think a lot of that is heavy. It's a lot easier to get you home as a flatbed compared to reefer. Um, so that's one of the things you kind of got to look into. Now, the other thing, part of that, as I'll explain, is um, yeah, there's probably not enough going in, but there's a shit ton going out of Twin Falls. Um, the other thing to explain to your recruiter is what you're planning for home time. Say you live in Twin Falls, Idaho, but you're the only one that's there. I don't know. Say you followed a girl up there and you broke up and you kind of stayed there. Just using that as an example. You don't really have any family connections up there. Explain to them, yeah, I'm not really going to take home time. That's just where I live at right now. I'm going to be living on the truck, and I'm going to be taking my home time here and here. So you can let them know, and that might actually help you with getting hired on. Or say I'm only going home once a year to do taxes or whatever. But other than that, I plan on living on the truck. There's a lot of people, especially younger, that will set up. You can set up a can't register at a PO box, but the trick is you can go to a mailbox store like I think it's Mailbox Etc. or something like that, and get a box there to set up your home address as, because that's an actual physical address. That's what a lot of RVers do. So that way, if you're just going to be living on the truck, that way you can be anywhere. So, so that doesn't matter. Um, that's kind of interesting. Um, Jason, go ahead and kind of email me if you don't mind what's kind of going on. My email is the same thing as my channel name, jacasvlogs at gmail. Just kind of a brief of what's going on. It won't. Maybe tomorrow I'll be able to get a hold of my recruiter, the lady I use, to see if she can kind of look up. Um, okay, if you're fine with it, I won't dig into it. But what that's probably is it's not enough freight to guarantee you to be able to get home when you need to get home as a reefer driver. So what they're saying is, hey, pretty much the only way that we're going to be able to bring you in, and that way get you home when you need to get home, is probably going to be only on the flatbed side. Is probably how I would take that. So, all right, been at it for hour 42. I need to get some freaking sinus medication. I thought it was over with this crap. So, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Again, if you're catching this on the replay, make sure you hit the subscription, or everyone hit the thumbs up button for me. Make sure you hit subscribe, ring that bell, and you'll get notified when I go live if you're not already. Again, thank you for all coming in. Name sounds familiar. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's been a little bit since I had to deal with recruiters, so I'll dig into. I'll generally ask about Idaho Freight and find out what's going on for you, and I'll get back with you on them, man. Um, but other than that, thank you all for coming in tonight, hanging out. It's been a while since I've done an hour and 43 minutes freaking live. Everyone be safe. I've got a couple other videos I'll probably work on tonight, be getting out within the next couple days. So, and the main one's going to be breaking down what the difference is between company lease and lease purchase. So, yeah. So, other than that, everyone stay safe, and we'll talk to you talk to you later.